like this, apex, and like this till the apex. Now I'm going to carve the labial aspect. This is the labial aspect of the tooth. Remove the wax. Hold the tooth away from the wax knife in order not to burn your hands with the hot melted wax. Then from the cervical and carve a straight line. Then carve the root with a rounded apex. Remember, leave 1 millimeter all around the borders. Then remove it with the carver. Here again. Remove the wax and the crown like this. The outline is straight. It's very easy to be done. Then remove the outline of the root. Ends with rounded apex. Like this. Now I'm going to remove the excess 1 millimeter all around the borders of the tooth. Now, at this point you can check all the measurements of the tooth. Now I'm going to carve or round up all the line angles. This is a line angle. We call it the labio or mesiolabial line angle, and this one is a line angle. We call it the distolabial line angle. From the lingual, this is a line angle and this is a line angle. Mesiolingual and distolingual line angles. Starting from the labial aspect, round up the line angles, but be sure that the outline of the root from the mesial and distal aspects still parallel to each other. Just remove a very, very thin layer of wax. Like this. Then on the crown, polish the labial aspect. Then we said that the tooth tapers lingually. The tooth tapers lingually. So I'm going to round up the line angles of the root. Then I'm going to use the carving obliquely, like this, in order to make the cingulum and to make the tapering of this side or this surface, like this. obliquely. Don't reach the incisal edge. Like this. Then polish the tooth. Check all the sides or all aspects. This is the mesial aspect, the incisal edge lingual to the midline. The root outlines are parallel with rounded apex. Polish the tooth very well. Remove any excess wax. Pass the tooth quickly on the flame. Then again, polish it very well. Then I'm going to draw the cervical line. The cervical line from the mesial and the distal. Hold the graph paper here on the cervical or on the line separating the crown from the root. Measure 3 millimeters and put a mark. From the distal side, it is less, the concavity of the cervical line is less with 1 millimeter, so you are going to measure about just 2 millimeters. Here there is a very important point. The cervical line from the lingual side is higher than the cervical line from the labial side to the apical side with 1 millimeter. This is the labial, just with the line separating the crown from the root, and this is the lingual, more by 1 millimeter. I'm going to do it at the mesial aspect and on the distal aspect. Now measure the crown length from the mesial and the distal. The crown length was 9. Put mark with your carver. Also from the other side, like this, measure 9 millimeters. Put a mark with your carver. Then join the lines like this. Put the graph paper from the mesial side and measure 3 millimeters. Put it from the distal side and measure 2 millimeters. Join the lines. In the labial aspect, the maximum convexity of the cervical line is on the line separating the crown from the root, this line. I'm going to draw it at first on the labial aspect, like this. Then join the cervical line to the distal side. Then be sure that from the lingual you pass the cervical line apically with 1 millimeter. Then again join the lines with the point at the mesial. Again like this. Then pass the lingual line with 1 millimeter, again forming the mesial and labial lines. Remove the line, you draw it from the beginning, like this. Remember that the cervical line is just a line separating the crown from the root. Polish the tooth. Remove any irregularities on the surface. Any excess of wax. Then make the concavity of the fossa. Here the concavity is very shallow. Just with the carver, with the other end of the carver, remove a very fine layer or a very thin layer, like this. The lingual fossa of the lower central incisor is very shallow and bordered with mesial marginal ridge. This is the lingual fossa. Bordered with the mesial marginal ridge, the distal marginal ridge, the incisal ridge, and the cingulum. Again, polish the tooth. Here there are two depressions on the root, mesially and distally. The distal is deeper. With the carver, from the mesial aspect, draw a line on the root with the sharp end of the carver. Then remove wax with the other end of the carver, like this. From the distal side also, draw the depression, then remove wax with the other side of the carver, but the distal depression is deeper than the mesial depression. Now, polish the tooth. Don't leave any irregularities on the surface. Don't leave excess wax. And be sure that the outline of the root is parallel to each other from the mesial and distal aspects. The tip of the incisal edge is just lingual to the midline. The root is rounded. The incisal edge is